In this tutorial, we will be looking at creating an automated newsletter delivery system for a local business website. So let's get started. Now, if you remember from a previous lesson, we actually created a website using our Pure Leverage blog for a local grooming service known as Hoochie Poochie Parlor. We will continue on using this website in this tutorial. Now, what we want to add is one of the most important features of any website, and that is a way to collect the name and the email address of possible customers. So in this example, we will create a campaign that we will use to collect the name and email addresses, and then we will provide a newsletter to those customers providing pet tips and also offering discount coupons. So the first thing we need to do is actually go back to our Pure Leverage dashboard, and from here we want to go down to the Level 1 Marketing Suite, and we're going to select Autoresponder. Now in here, since we have not created any campaigns previously, we're going to click on Create a Campaign, and now we're ready to start adding our information. Now, since this is going to be a newsletter, we'll go ahead and call the campaign the Hoochie Poochie Pet Tips Newsletter, and in the description we will just enter newsletter providing pet care tips. Now, it automatically will default with the name and the email address that was set up with the actual Pure Leverage account, so what you need to do is change that information to match for the local business. So the first thing, the from name is what will show up in the email that is being sent from this autoresponder campaign. So let's go ahead and just enter Hoochie Poochie Parlor. Now for the from email, this can be any email address that the company currently uses for sending email. Now the notification email in this example we'll just leave blank, but you could enter an email address if you wanted to get a notification email when somebody opts into the newsletter. Now the unsubscribe text can be left as it is, and that is if somebody wants to unsubscribe from the newsletter, this is the text that they would read. Now what we do want to change is the activation text. This is the text that's displayed once they opt in. They receive a confirmation email, so they need to click a link before they're actually added to the campaign. So I'm going to replace that with yes, please send me the HPP newsletter, which would stand for the Hoochie Poochie Parlor newsletter. Now we'll go ahead and scroll down, and we're going to go ahead and enter the company name. So for that example, we'll just enter the Hoochie Poochie Parlor, and for the website, this will be the address that they are taken to once they click the confirmation link in that first opt-in email. So we're going to go ahead and just enter the address to the website itself. Now we're ready to go ahead and click on the add button to create this campaign. And now you'll notice that we have a campaign that has been created, and now we need to go ahead and add a few more features to this campaign. So first thing we want to do is go up to campaigns, and we're going to scroll down to global fields. Go ahead and select it, and what we're wanting to do is add a contact address that will be added to the end of each one of our emails that are sent from this campaign. So let's go ahead and enter some information, and for this example I'll just enter the Hoochie Poochie Parlor with an address listed. I'll actually show like a phone number and the actual website address. This is so anybody receiving these emails from the local business will be able to contact that business. Next thing we need to do is go ahead and select the box below that says automatically add to the end of every message. Now we can go ahead and scroll to the bottom and click on update. Now the next step we need to do is actually configure the opt-in message that is sent for them to confirm that they want to be added to the newsletter. So we'll go up to messages, and we'll scroll to the bottom of that list where it says opt-in message and select it. And here we can go ahead and add whatever content we want it to read so that they understand what they're actually opting into. Now the subject line just has hello, and it's going to insert their name as a default. You can change this. The variables here are listed under the insert field. I'm going to go ahead and leave that the same at the moment. Scroll down just a little bit, and I'm actually going to go ahead and replace current content there, and I'm just going to type hi, and then I'm going to go to the insert field. I'm going to go down to subscriber and select first name. Now the next thing I'm going to do is drop down, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of text, and it says, we have received a request that you would like to receive our Hoochie Poochie newsletter. To confirm that this was your request, please click the confirmation link below. Now that is all you need to put. The link will automatically be inserted for you below this content, and then your address will fall below that. So now what we want to do is go ahead and copy this exact same content here, and we're going to scroll down to where it says text message, and we're actually going to insert that exact same message. Be sure that you insert a message in the text box as well as the HTML so that it covers all possibilities of any customers that may receive this email. Then we want to go ahead and scroll down and click on update. Now we are brought to the area where we can add our first follow-up message. This will be the messages that we can schedule to be delivered over time, and once they click the confirmation link, it will trigger the sequence of starting to send these follow-up messages or newsletters, as we will call them here. Now we're using this as pet tips, so we need to base the content around the pet tips, but also any valuable information that a pet owner may need to know. This also builds a know, like, and trust with the customer and the business owner. So in this example, I'm going to go ahead and click here to create the first message, and you see that it says send after 1 day. I'm going to go ahead and enter a 0 so that once they click the confirmation link, they will receive this email immediately afterwards. Now since we are doing this with pet tips, on the subject line I'm just going to go ahead and enter Hoochie Poochie Pet Tips, and I will use it over and over in this campaign because that is the name of our newsletter. Now you could change the subject line per message if you prefer. Okay, now let's add the actual content to the body of the email. So I'm going to go ahead and do like I did earlier and just put hi, and we're going to use the insert field, subscriber, and use first name. This way we personalize it again so we can build that know, like, and trust. Now maybe we want to go ahead and add a little bit of a description welcoming them to the newsletter. So let's go ahead and put a little content there. And now maybe we want to go ahead and add our actual tip headline. So let's go ahead and come in here and drop down a little bit, and maybe I want to make that a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it, select bold, and maybe I'm going to change the font size a little bit. And now I can go ahead and drop down. Okay, now let's go ahead and add a comment about what this tip will cover. And here I'm just going to say it's under daily coat maintenance. It is always important to provide proper coat care at home. Try these helpful tips to get the most from brushing and combing. And now maybe we can just list a few bullet points. So let's go ahead and drop down, and we'll enter our first bullet point. And let's go ahead and drop down another line and enter our next bullet point. I'm just going to go ahead and add up to 4 bullet points in this example. So the next one will be the 4th one. So now we've got 4 different points. Now we can come back up here and select these 4 points, and we can set them under bullets to make it look a little bit more organized and bring points to each one of them. Now the next thing I might want to do, since this email goes out, I may want to try to offer them a special discount to get them to go ahead and book their first appointment or their next appointment. So let's just go ahead and call this special offer, and I may want to do it the same as I did on the daily coat. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it, click on bold, and we'll go ahead and raise the size of it as well. And I'm going to drop down a line. Now here I may go ahead and just make an offer to them by saying print this email and schedule an appointment within 10 days to receive a 20% discount. Now what I want to do is go ahead and copy all of the content that I have here in the HTML, and I want to scroll down to the text message box, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that information there as well. Now we're ready to go ahead and click add to save that first follow-up message. So now we have our first follow-up message. Okay, now let's go ahead and add another follow-up message. So we'll go up to message and click add follow-up. Okay, now we see that this one comes up with the 1. I'm going to go ahead and change that to a 7. This way it will go out 7 days after the previous email. Let's go ahead and use the same subject line, and now let's go ahead and scroll down and enter the body of our message. So once again, hi, and we'll insert the field to personalize it once again. And now we'll go ahead and add what our tip is for this week. And again, we'll do like we did in the previous. We'll go ahead and select it, make it bold, and make it a little bit larger. Okay, let's go ahead and add a slight description about this weekly tip. And now we can drop down and maybe do the same thing by creating a few bullet points. So our first bullet point, our second bullet point, and maybe a third bullet point. Now once again, we'll go ahead and highlight those 3 items and add our bullet points beside them, and then maybe we'll follow up with just a little bit more content. Okay, that should do it for this weekly tip. Now let's go ahead and copy the content as we did before. Remember, we always want to copy it and place it in our text message. And now we're ready to click on add. Okay, we now have 2 follow-up messages in our autoresponder, and you could continue adding as many messages as you prefer. It would be a good idea to have at least maybe a 6-month supply of follow-up messages. This way that it keeps an email going out to your customers or possible customers, and this way you have a chance of gaining additional business because of the follow-up and keeping your name out there in front of them and giving them valuable content. Now the next thing we need to go ahead and do is move on to creating our form that we will use with our website. So let's go up to forms, and we'll go down to where it says create a form, and here you'll see a list. Always make sure that the campaign at the top is the campaign that you're working with if you have more than one campaign created. Now the form name will always be a defaulted name, but you can actually come in here and add whatever name you'd like to use. So I'm just going to use Pet Tips as the form name. And then the thank you page, you have some options of using some pre-built thank you pages which have a voice with them. So they're in English, male or female, Spanish, Russian, Polish, or you can use a custom URL if you'd like to design your own thank you page. Now this is the page they're taken to once they click on the submit button inside the form. For this example, we'll go ahead and stick with the English male, and then the double opt-in. Make sure that it is checked if you're using double opt-in like we've set up. Now we want to scroll down, and here we're just going to go ahead and ask for the full name. You can select that you want to use the first name and the last name as 2 separate boxes, and you can also mark that they have to be required. We're going to go ahead and just use the full name and select it as required, and then the last thing is submit text. This will be the text that's actually on the button in the form. So we may want to change that to yes, please sign me up. And now we'll go ahead and click on create. Now once we've created the form, the next thing we're ready to do is actually put it on the website. So the easiest way to do that is come up under actions, and you'll see where the third item over says HTML. Let's go ahead and select it, and it will open up a box where you can go ahead and copy the form code that you need to add to your website. So we'll go ahead and select it and copy. Then we can go ahead and close. Now let's go back over to our website on the dashboard. And what we want to do is go down to where it says Appearance and Widgets. From here we'll see that the main sidebar area is listed, and now this is the area that you see where the white is on our page. What we want to do is go ahead and come down and get the text widget, bring it up into the main area, and then in the big box itself we'll paste the actual code. Now in the title we may want to give a little bit of a description right ahead of the actual form. So I'm going to go ahead and just put join our Hoochie Poochie Pet Tips newsletter. We'll go ahead and click on save, and let's go back to our website. We're going to go ahead and refresh, and now we see that we have an actual opt-in form on our website. Join our Hoochie Poochie Pet Tips newsletter, asking for the full name and email, and yes, please sign me up. We're ready now to start collecting a name and email so that we can stay in touch with possible customers and future customers, and also offering special deals for anybody that joins the newsletter. So this is very important for any business in collecting and growing their business, is to stay in touch with customers through an automated system where they can send out emails at any time. Okay, thanks for watching and have a great day.